Bay Area professor who can't afford a place to live and is sleeping most nights in her car.
With what I make at San Jose State, I can't pay $2,000 a month rent. Can't do it.
It's hot out here. I said, the house is falling in. She's sleeping in her car. Ain't nobody else around here even paying it no attention. You got 4 churches over here that does what? Nothing.
I live in a storage unit because it's cheap in comparison to an apartment.
The American dream wasn't supposed to look like people living in storage units and families sleeping in cars with their entire lives packed into the back seat. As rents skyrocket and wages stagnate, more Americans are being pushed out of homes and into survival mode. In this video, we'll uncover how the cost of living has turned basic shelter into a luxury, forcing millions into desperate alternatives.
Day one of living in the storage unit, I was able to get electricity so I could start cooking. Tonight I'm gonna finally be able to stretch out while I'm sleeping. It's actually better than sleeping in the car. I'm just trying to be grateful because I know there's somebody that would trade positions with me.
So living in a storage unit is highly illegal, but I'm just glad this person isn't unhoused. You know what I mean? Americans are being forced into such dire situations. This next video is of an unhoused professor who has to sleep in her car.
Bay Area professor who can't afford a place to live and is sleeping most nights in her car.
With what I make at San Jose State, I can't pay $2,000 a month rent. Can't do it.
She takes home about $2,500 a month. Her usual routine is nearly constant motion. After classes, she parks in libraries or Walmart parking lots where she grades papers.
And I go sit somewhere until it's dark and then sneak into a neighborhood, park the car, and go to sleep.
Ellen used to be an admin in high tech, but was laid off in the dot-com bust, and she went through her savings. She went back to school and paid tuition with student loans.
And I'm $143,000 in debt. And I'm in my 50s, but I pay that loan every month.
She's also supporting her husband, who's unemployed, and their 2 dogs. She keeps her car neat and belongings are minimal to avoid being detected. But deep in her roof rack is a cast iron frying pan she doesn't use, at least for now.
I hold on to this because it's the hope that someday I'll have a home again.
I do not blame her for holding on to that cast iron skillet. Once you've cooked with one of those, you know that you cannot go back. But this is a tragic story. Did you notice that she said she fell on hard times when the dot-com bubble burst? Our government likes to act like after a financial crisis, whether it's the dot-com bubble or the 2008 financial collapse, everything just goes back to normal and that everything's fine afterwards. But many people never fully recover. They never even get back to that baseline of where they were before, and they continue to struggle for decades. You know who does go back to normal though, and does even better than before? The corporations. That's because in the United States, the profits are privatized and the losses are socialized. I kind of fear that we are currently in an AI bubble, but that's for another video. Some of the comments say, what in the professor? $2,500 a month? Is that seriously what colleges pay? A lot of bad choices. But how do you know that this woman made bad choices? She went through hard times after the dot-com bubble burst. Her husband is unemployed, but we don't know why. It could be because of an illness, accident, or injury. There's so many things that could have gone wrong. There's just not enough info to say, oh, she just made bad choices and that's where she is. I know that a lot of people would love to say that and just blame her and say it's a moral failure, it's a personal failure. This is a systemic failure. Another comment says, this is so wrong. Most people can't afford today's rent. Part-time, $30,000 a year is under minimum wage. Why do her dogs not have jobs?
I live in a storage unit because it's cheap in comparison to an apartment. Living here is actually really comfortable. I get a lot of things that I need and want to get done here. I can exercise. I can use the bathroom. I can play music anywhere in the unit. It's It's climate controlled in here, so it's nice and warm. This unit is 24 hours, so I can come here anytime I want, stay here as long as I need to. We can take naps if we need to and go to sleep. So this is our living space. Very, very grateful to have this space. And if we want to eat, I just cook right out front. Or we'll just prepare something cold inside of the unit. Sandwiches. If we want to get power, we use our power bank. They also have power here so we can charge our power bank. Me and my baby will live here as long as we need to until we get the shelter that we want. Because we're living here, now we can save up more money to get what we really want. We're in it for the long haul.
Unfortunately, I mean, there's got to be cameras around that place. He's probably going to get kicked out really soon. Apparently, one of the comments says that couple did this before and then they got locked out of the storage unit. Good luck to them, honestly. Here's a couple stats about affordable housing that blew my mind. In the early 1980s, 40% of new single-family homes built were entry-level, small but affordable. By 2019, that share had plunged to just 7%. Also in the 1980s, under Reagan, federal funding for housing authorities was slashed. HUD's budget dropped from $74 billion to $19 billion. This reduction coincided with a sharp decline in low-cost rental housing. In 1980, there was a surplus of about 300,000 affordable units. By 1985, low-cost units had fallen to 5.6 million, while the number of low-income renter households had surged, creating a gap of 3.3 million units. Today, affordable new homes have nearly vanished, hence why we have people living in storage units and their cars like the next video shows.
1-year-old Christine Marshall, who neighbors call Mama. She is nonverbal and communicates with pen and notepad. We asked her what happened. She wrote back, throat cancer. Through all of her challenges, her love for her South Memphis home remains.
Did you have a lot of great memories in this house?
Mama told us she lived in the home for 30 years until a neighbor's tree that extended over her roof for years later collapsed, leaving permanent damage to her home. Insurance will not fix it, and the home is now unlivable. So Mama has slept in her car for the last 3 years.
This don't make no sense. The tree must have fell on it, and then nobody do nothing but put this rag on top. Because last year, when I looked at it during the winter, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Darren Rivers, who lives in the neighborhood and gives Mama water bottles and ice cubes to stay cool, says this can't go on.
It's hot out here. I said, the house is falling in. She's sleeping in her car. Ain't nobody else around here even paying it no attention. You got 4 churches over here that does what? Nothing.
I can't blame her for being mad at the churches. Churches are tax-free organizations, and instead of helping out their communities, many of them hoard resources to make their pastors and their henchmen wealthy. Not all, but far too many. And then you have an insurance company who won't fix her home. Why was she even paying insurance then? These insurance companies are so predatory. And now this woman can't even live in her home due to an accident that was by no fault of her own. Some of the comments say the churches around there should feel ashamed. Now, why would you put that microphone up to her mouth? You just said she can't speak. I noticed that. He just stuck that microphone right up there. Fortunately, there's one comment that says, I saw an update. They raised enough money to help her.
I am homeless and I live here in my car because while I work 50 to 60 hours every single week, I don't make enough money to afford an apartment, which is now over $1,800 per month on average, and often more than that. And every single day here on social media, people are leaving comments and sending me messages saying that I'm not homeless because I live in my car and I need to stop calling myself homeless. So I looked up the actual definition of homeless, and it is people living in a place not meant for human habitation, such as the streets, cars, or abandoned buildings. And that is the literal definition of homeless. You know, some people live in their cars out of choice, or they want to do hashtag van life. I live in my car because I lost my apartment, and then I was outpriced of the rental market because rent prices tripled over the last 4 years. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a good rest of your day. Bye.
It is wild to me that people are arguing in the comments. I personally try and use the word unhoused when talking about people who don't have homes. If you live in a car, like, you're not lucky. You're not fortunate. I mean, sure, it's great that you have a car, but this is a systemic failure. Some of the comments say, I'm retired, 63. I live in my car. I can't afford an apartment. Made a lot of money with a bachelor's degree. Social Security is all I have. Doesn't seem right. That goes back to ageism. There are so many people 50 and older who are having the hardest time finding a job, even though they are capable, they are qualified, and they want to work. But ageism in the US is so pervasive, and there's not a lot of protections or any enforced regulation when it comes to ageism. Another comment says, you should get a 24-hour gym membership, and that way you have access to bathrooms/showers whenever you need. I know a person who had a period of homelessness, and I asked what was the hardest thing, and in a nanosecond he replied, winter. More empathy is needed in this world. Yes.
It's not too bad at night, but I usually use this. So, this is my little blinders.
Now you throw that up when, about sundown or when?
I throw it up anytime I park. It don't matter. It's sundown, yeah. So, yep. And then I have, so this one is big because it's for my other car, but I can kind of see. I have it like open so I can kind of see from here.
Peek out right there?
Yeah, peek out right here. I can peek out right here too where they can't see me. And then of course I use my rears and then back here. And then I have my shoes, like I have my house shoes. Usually, because you was riding with me, but usually I have my house shoes in there. Like this is my food, my salad. I know it's weird for sitting here. I still eat it. I got homeless lady stomach. But this is my, so that's my bedding right here. This is my purse. So this is my water. This is my cleaning products for my car. So this is like my little supply.
People don't like to admit it, but anyone could become homeless by no fault of their own in the United States, and that's why the system is a failure. One comment says, something has gone very wrong in this world when working people are homeless due to the cost of renting or buying. Something has to give soon. Car payments are the price that apartments used to be. That is so true. Around 2010, 2011, I lived in a little one-story duplex in the Midwest. It was a 2-bedroom. It only cost $600 a month. That price for a 2-bedroom apartment or duplex today would be impossible to find.
I paid $50 for this whole little storage unit. It's pretty cozy and remarkable if you think about it. Like, look at this. I fit inside the whole unit. I have my socks here, underwear, tank tops, gym socks, my shoes. I have my gym clothes, towels, my nice clothes, some just more random stuff, some more storage for shoes, and the rest of everything that is tied to my name is right here. It's quite impressive how much shit I fit in here, especially just like the little space that I have. Because ultimately, it's really just like, look at it, like it's my arm's length that really fits in this whole unit.
One comment says, bro's snitching on himself. I really hope that these people don't get caught. I think it's only a matter of time, and I hope that they'll have somewhere to go, because this is tragic. And for this last video, which is a skit, because I like to end on a lighter note, if this video doesn't show the corrupt and horrific cycle that Americans are constantly fighting, I don't know what does.
Look, guys, we are doing everything we possibly can to end homelessness in LA, all right? But it's a tricky beast. I mean, we don't know where they keep coming from. Houses. They're coming from houses. I don't think so. That's kind of the whole thing, is they're unhoused because they couldn't afford to keep the house. Look, we're here to help, all right? So we're open to any and all suggestions. You could raise the minimum wage? No. What's that? I said no, we're not doing that, all right? If you want more money, then you gotta get a better job. And if you can't get a better job, well, sorry, maybe you should have gone to college. Well, could you make like college more affordable then so that people could go and get a better education and get a better job? This isn't about minimum wage or a good education. This is about the homelessness issue, all right? We're talking about, you know, lazy folks and people with drug problems and crazies. Gonna move past how offensive and dehumanizing that was, but sure, let's roll with it. Can we make like mental health services available to people? No, all right, we're not here to give everyone a therapist, all right? If you got crazy problems, that's on you. This gets worse. Okay, well, could we at least make healthcare free so they can get the medication and the services they need? Hey, pal, this isn't about healthcare. It's not about minimum wage. It's not about affordable housing. This is about homelessness, all right? Does anybody here have an idea that pertains to homelessness and how to solve that? What if we kick them out of the parks they set up tents in and arrest them if they don't leave. Finally, a good idea. Thank you, sir.
That is going to do it for today. I hope that you check out one of these 2 videos on screen, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.